Guys, welcome back to this channel. Today I'm reviewing Batman and frickin' Robin. So, before we get started, just want to mention I'm going to Steamboat literally, I think, in a couple days on, Thursday. Coming home Monday. Once I get back, I'm going to start making my Batman movies ranked. And then that's just going to be a speed through because I feel like I've been saturated in Batman literally for a long time. I don't feel like making that kind of video when I'm in Steamboat. Reviews you expect when I'm in Steamboat because I think this will be the last one I do before I go to Steamboat. Quick reviews for, maybe I'll do a full review. I'm going to do a full review for either not Lego Batman movie, for either Batman Mask of the Phantasm or Batman from the 60s. One of the two, whichever one I think I'll feel more interested in doing, or whichever one fits the movie review template a bit more. And then whichever one I don't do, I'll do a quick review when I'm in Steamboat. And then the other videos, you expect a Lego Batman quick review. And then another one will be maybe RCT3 videos. I don't think any huge videos, maybe a Kingsman movies ranked. Scream movies ranked will not be coming for a while, as well as Ghostface Killer's ranked. I think those are the two ones I might do for Scream. So, and I'm obviously going to rewatch Scream 4 and 5, and maybe the other ones, I don't know. Not much to say, but I think we can get into it. Starting off what this movie's about, this movie is Batman teaming up with Robin to go up against Mr. Freeze and new and upcoming villain Poison Ivy, as well as her henchman Bane, which in the case, those three villains are trying to destroy the world and make it into an ice capsule and then turn everything else into plants, essentially. I hope that's the plot. And then you have Robin and Bruce Wayne dealing with trust issues while Alfred is sick and all that stuff is happening. Now the good. Oh my god. Starting off the good, I'd say I get a little bit of a kick out of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. I do not get a kick out of the ice sponge, that's for sure.
Let's kick some ice.
Show some mercy.
I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold. All right, everyone, chill.
But here's the thing. Do I like him? Not really. But do I get a kick out of him a little bit? Do I sort of have some guilty pleasure enjoyment out of Mr. Freeze because he's played by Arnold Schwarzenegger? Sure. Because the thing with him, he's a lot of fun in the role because he's playing a very over-the-top version of Mr. Freeze. And in some ways, I think that's kind of fun. Other ways, it's very kind of annoying, very frustrating. And do I like it? Not really. But do I get some sort of weird enjoyment, sentimental enjoyment out of it? Yeah. And I think the plot line about him losing his wife due to his own work and I don't think the idea of him trying to destroy the world works about that. That part of it doesn't work, but I think the overall moral victory by the time you get to the end of the movie, actually, I think that works pretty well. And then the other two villains, yeah, I'll get to that later. Second thing, I will say one thing about this movie. It's not boring. I actually like what they do with Alfred a little bit, where they make him sick, and then it's pretty satisfying when you get to the end of the movie. Mostly because you're just ready for the movie to end, and it basically does. But it's kind of nice to see you find Alfred gets better, and as unrealistic as that kind of is, it does sort of work here. Other thing, I just think it's kind of entertaining. There's some guilty pleasure. I get a little bit out of it because it's so over the top. So it's one of those movies that's almost so bad that's good. But for me, it's kind of so bad that's just kind of entertaining. And, okay, it's like, there's not much to really say about it because I just don't really care about whatever happens here. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about the good. Now let's get worse. I have the mixed stuff. And starting out the mixed stuff, first character, Robin. I like him here a little bit more than I did in no, I'm kidding. I don't like him at all here. I think, I kind of like him in Batman Forever a little bit, but I don't really like him here. The performance is fine, but I don't like his plot line with Poison Ivy. I think it's horrible. And the whole thing with him not being able to trust, that part of it I do like a little bit, but everything else just doesn't work. And you don't really get much of a sense of chemistry between Bruce Wayne and Robin. And then you bring in Alfred's niece, I guess. That was interestingly weird. And then overall, I just don't really care for Robin at all here. I don't hate him or anything, but I definitely don't like him very much. I would say I like him more than Batman because George Clooney is just not really likable at all in this movie for some reason. Other thing, I think the action sequences, they're not as cartoonish as I was expecting. The Batmobile is as cartoonish as ever. I think I liked it a little bit more than the Batman for Everyone because I think the design of the bat wings or sort of thing at the back of the car is better than just having that long fin in the middle, which is super distracting. Where in the two, I don't know which one's better. They're both bad, but I would still maybe take the one in Batman and Robin. It's tricky, but overall, I'm not. I just don't really care about anything that happens. I'm just sitting there with a groan on my face for most of the movie. I get the bad, and starting off the whole plethora of issues. First one is just some of the CGI, especially with the Mr. Freeze gun. Mr. Freeze, I don't think is a villain you can really do today. I feel like. Because he's designed to be a bit more over the top. Unless, I mean, if they do Mr. Freeze and they do it well, that's great. But I don't think it worked here, for definitely not. I don't hate Mr. Freeze because I love Arnold Schwarzenegger and he gives an okay enough performance here. Because he also knows the movie that he's in, but the gun itself, I don't like it. And, yeah. Then you have Poison Ivy. I'm Uma Thurman. She's fine in the role. I'm just kidding. She's pretty terrible, and I think she's my least favorite of the two of the villains that haven't been remade in the 21st century. And the other two, I think, she is compared to the bottom two Batman villains, she is quite a bit ahead. But compared to the bottom two, I'll talk about those later. Then you have Bane on the other hand. Oh my god, what are they doing here? You take a villain from the comics who is the guy that literally breaks Batman's back and then turn him into a mindless buffoon henchman person to a Poison Ivy. And it's just such a weird, he literally just repeats everything she says and it's just terrible. I absolutely hate this. I don't know if I wouldn't call it offensive necessarily, but I don't want to go far with that. So, yeah, I really don't like Bane here. It's as simple as that. George Clooney just doesn't do anything to the role of Bruce Wayne / Batman. I don't like him. He understandably gives a very bad performance because he's in a really bad movie, and I think he just doesn't care. And overall, I don't think his Batman is actually a little bit better than Val Kilmer's Batman, but I think his Bruce Wayne is much worse, because I think Val Kilmer does the Bruce Wayne pretty nicely. I think in a much darker Batman movie, compared to some of the other things I've seen him in, he could have done a good Bruce Wayne. I mean, but here, just no, doesn't work whatsoever. And playing into the camp just doesn't work. And overall, I'm just not a fan of that. Another thing, I just don't like the Batmobile. I kind of like it a little bit more than the Batman Forever one because I prefer the two fins going like this than just the one in the middle and then the two on the side. That just looks much weirder. And the design, I think, is a little bit worse. They're both bad, if I'm going to be honest. None of the action sequences with either of them are all that memorable. Or that's debatable, but still. I think, and also another problem, the plan for both Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, they're not compatible whatsoever. They still team up, which, whatever, I couldn't really care less. Okay. Yeah, I think that kind of ends it. Also, why would you just make cranked up the camp sliders, and instead of just playing into what George Schumacher should just played into what these actors could do really well, he just dials up the camp sliders and the camp goofiness and over the top of everything, and it just doesn't work here. I just don't like this whatsoever. I'll say it's still a little entertaining. It's almost so bad that it's good, but it's not, so I don't like it. This movie's final score, I'll give it like a 2 out of 10. I just didn't like it. I thought it was absolutely terrible. It's easily my least favorite Batman. Justice League might be very close. Because at least I don't think this one I don't think is at least offensive to what's going, well, this one I at least don't think is just disrespectful and I don't know what the word is, just disrespectful, I guess, to the comic book genre, but it's pretty much what burned the comic book genre back into the ground until 3 years later, until Blade came out, and then sort of wowed, or I guess until even X-Men or Spider-Man came out. So this movie, I think, is one of the most mocked comic book movies of all time. I get why after watching it. It wasn't as bad as expecting. I was expecting to be unwatchable. It wasn't unwatchable. It was actually kind of entertaining, but I really didn't like it. And don't even get me started on the bat nipples. I brought up a lot of this in Batman Forever. You might be surprised I didn't talk about it here, but because I talked about my Batman Forever review. Go check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell me if you actually enjoy Batman and Robin. I bet you don't. I won't be surprised. Won't be mad whatsoever. And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.